Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever it is that you're at. I would like to share some stuff today based off of some of the things I've kind of been noticing over the last few days about kind of this whole idea of New Earth, people thinking that someone's coming to save them, and just this hate that my God is better than your God kind of thing, or if you don't follow what my scripture says, then you are wrong kind of thing. And there's this whole divide I'm noticing between those who are moving into the heart and are kind of being more laid back and just loving and things aren't such a big deal, and those who are more worried in fear and judging, a lot of judgment, right? And so this might be a little bit of a lengthier one. Take what resonates, stay however long you want to. One thing I would like to clear up is this idea of the new earth or the new age that we're moving into. And I know that there are some other spiritual teachers and leaders that of just like to say it's a new way of being, but that doesn't really clarify to people what they're moving into, right? It's a new way of feeling. It's a new way of being, but you're feeling. So a lot of this journey is getting out of the mind and into the heart. And it's just focusing on what we're feeling. And when we slowly start integrating, because basically it's a meld between our soul and our human self. And so as we let go of some of the conditioning and we go through these cycles of purging things out or kind of going through dark nights of the soul, even like mini ones and things like that, we slowly start shedding away all the things, the human conditioning that's not us, that allows more of our light to come in. And the more light that we hold, we actually embody that light and we feel that light. And I can't even describe it to you because it's something that is so personal to each person, how they're going to feel it. But it's a feeling, and it's a feeling of being supported. It's a feeling of that you just feel like everything's being taken care of, that that God, spirit, universe, your soul, has your back. Like it's such a lovely, lovely feeling. And I could try to put it into words, but it's been eons of time that people or man has tried to put the term of creator, universe, God, energy into words, because you can't. It's a feeling. And you start to embody this feeling and you start to walk and talk and embody the light. Your mind will be of service to your heart, and you will no longer be all in the scattered mind. You'll be guided and you will live fully through your heart, whatever you're guided to do, to say, where to be, things like that. And when you're on your journey, you're going to pop in and out as you're integrating, because it's not one full integration. It happens in stages. It happens in bits and pieces, and it happens as quick as you are able to accelerate it yourself. If you're constantly avoiding your emotions and not wanting to deal with a lot of these things that are coming up, and you keep shoving it down, you're just making the process, you're just prolonging it. So it's your choice, and none of it's right or wrong, and it's based off of the pace that you want to take. Okay, so that's kind of that part, and then there's this part of so much hate that I'm seeing on social media, that judgment on other people. If you don't do things the way that my scripture says or this says, then you're doing it wrong. And there's a lot of fear in there. There's a lot of fear based. And if you were one of those people, that's a lot of fear. And when you are spewing all of that stuff out about your God is better than my God and you are judging, you are not in the light energy. You are not in that energy. And it's not that someone's coming to save us. There is the energy of the Christ consciousness. Even if people want to talk about Jesus's energy, that's already here on the earth. That's what's helping raise the vibration. That's what's helping move and shift us forward. It's not coming physically. like a man coming, riding on a cloud or on his horses, coming to save us all. And the judgment time, like, it's so crazy because I had this thought today about the whole like judgment time of all of that. And really, it's our own inner judgment. Because even though I can say this, I have no judgment. It's just purely observational. But I have no judgment for those people who are living in the fear and who are judging other people. It's merely observational. But to judge other people really means that judge other people saying that you will be judged later. You really are like there's no it's all man-made. It just goes back to the concept of religion and the control and the fear. And I think a lot of people are in that control and fear that they've allowed religion or the concept of or what they've been taught to hold over them. And so a lot of it is just fear. And so I think sometimes I've been really, really amazed by how many people aren't fighting back. They're just allowing people to have their comments, their biased comments, and they're just leaving it be. And there's not a whole lot of fight back. Because I think with a lot of the people who are on that journey, who are feeling the new consciousness energy and the light energy, just know that there's no point. There's nothing, there's no point in fighting back because it doesn't do anything, right? So it's an interesting time, and it's just going to accelerate. I know that's why I've kind of been modifying. I've been modifying a lot of my time on social media. And if I am watching TV, it's something light, like a show that's light and easy. But there's going to be a lot of craziness and crudeness and also a lot of light, right? And it's so powerful right now to lean into. And even if you're moving into something that's unknown, something that's so unknown as a feeling, but feels good, lean into that. And you might have initial fear at first because your mind's going to be like, I don't know what this is. I'm being asked to go a different way or do something different. And I don't know what that different is. And that's okay. Just lean into it anyway, because we're not always going to see a lot of this for this next few years is like going in blind. It's just trusting. It's going in blind, knowing that what we're doing, how we live, the way we've been living isn't working anymore. And we have to find a different way to do it. We might not have the tools or the know-how or the insight yet on what that looks like, but it's leaning into the unknown, as scary it is. Just even feeling into it energetically and embodying it into that. And over time, it doesn't feel so scary. And then the insights are able to come. So it's so worth it in a sense that the more that you will embody and the more that you're going to feel, and you're going to be so amazed at how differently you can look at your life and how you can feel about your life and the people around you, and how much you're clearly going to understand about what's really going on around you and what's going on within you. I had something I was going to share and I can't really remember what it was about. Oh yes. So if we can just stay in our hearts during this time and just know that even if you can't handle being around certain people, we don't have to judge them. We can love them from a distance. We can send them love. We can feel love for them. And just know that a lot of the stuff they're going through is fear, worry, and it's their own judgment. Guaranteed, if people are judging other people, they are holding so much judgment within themselves and they're scared. They're scared. Because a lot of them are scared they're going to come onto judgment. That all of the stuff they've been told, that there's going to be a man that's coming to judge them and they're going to be condemned to whatever. And it's not even like that at all. Because the only judgment that is out there is what we have on ourselves. Our judgments, our own fears, our worries, our own insecurities, those are the only, we persecute ourselves through our self-criticism and our own judgments. And it's interesting because I have had a couple of days where I've kind of looked through like some of the revelations in the scriptures and stuff like that. And it really is a metaphor. It is a metaphor, and it makes it seem like, but every time they talk about God is an energy, and it could be, you could call it your creator, your spirit, your soul, the universe. You can call it whatever you want. It's the same energy. It's the same thing, except for the word God just has it's a tricky word because it has a lot of different associating meanings and feelings behind it, within this world. So there's a lot of negative context to that word. So a lot of times I like to use the other words for it, but really all is one. It all is the same. And you will realize as you journey into this new feeling and new way of being with how you're feeling, you're going to know that the like universe, spirit, God, source, soul, they're all just words. They're labels. And they really, none of it compares or even comes close to the feeling that you will have when you meld further and further into that energy of yourself. So it's just being mindful of like what we're falling into and what we're noticing, and to have compassion. It doesn't mean you don't have boundaries. It doesn't mean that you can't stand up for yourself, or that you walk away from what no longer serves you, or anything that is toxic. You can walk away from any situation or any person that is toxic, and you can still love that person or have compassion for them. It doesn't mean you hate them. It just means that you are putting yourself first, and those steps are steps into coming into your own light. It's not giving away our energy so scattered to all these people that don't deserve it. And it's not, they don't deserve it. They don't embrace it. They don't love it. They don't support you. They don't lift you up. And anybody who is like that, you can love them from a distance. Just take your steps back and decide that it's just not for you anymore. And we don't even have to be rude about it. We can literally just, we don't owe anyone anything. We really don't. And I don't mean that in a selfish, screw you kind of way. We have this society that we feel like we owe everyone an apology. We owe people explanations. We owe people, we have to explain ourselves. No, we don't. We don't need to do any of that stuff. That is putting other people before it puts ourselves, right? If you have a situation where you are coming out of your heart and you want to explain something to somebody, or you feel inspired to, by all means. But if you're doing it out of obligation and you're doing it because you feel like you have to and not because you feel like you're inspired to, absolutely not. It's time to come out of obligation. It's time to stop putting other people first and put ourselves first. And to take our power back, to stop giving so much of our energy to people who don't appreciate it. It's time to stay in our smaller circles with people that do appreciate it and people that do light us up. And I think one of the other really important notes that I really would like to share is that solitude in the most uncomfortable of times, where you are being forced, or you feel like because people around you are like dropping like flies because they are no longer a match to you, they're no longer in alignment to you, that you're finding you're spending a lot more of your time on your own. And the best growth, the best way that you can know yourself is spending time by yourself, spending time alone, and sitting with yourself, knowing what you feel, seeing, no matter how uncomfortable it is, there are other support networks. There are other people that are there, more so now. It's amazing, that app, Threads, how many people want to do podcasts with other people, how many like-minded want to get together. It's absolutely amazing. I am blown away by that. It's one of the more positive I mean, my algorithm's pretty good, but it's one of the more positive platforms. But maybe that's just my algorithm on that app. But it's amazing. And yes, we are going to have those kinds of support. But I know there are times that we will be asked to be alone. And I know this for a fact because I have been doing this for the last year. So it just allows us to remove any codependencies and attachments from other people. And just to show us that we can do it. We can be alone. And we can feel good alone, because then we are more mindful of who we're surrounding ourselves with. And we're not choosing to be around other people because we're scared to be alone. That we're scattering our energy with all these other people who are not in alignment with us because we're too scared to be alone, because we're too scared to sit with ourselves alone. So in this time, it's just, and grace has been a really big thing, synchronistically lately, is to have grace with ourselves and grace with other people. And I mean, we can tolerate only so much with other people who are hurting before we finally are just like, enough's enough. Enough is enough. And that's kind of been one of my themes lately, that enough is enough. And I've been noticing other people, and it kind of in synchronicity having the same thing. So those are kind of just some of the things that I've just been wanting to share. It's okay to fall into the quiet. It's okay to fall into the slow, to get out of the rat race, to be mindful. And really, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Really. Take a step back, take a pause, walk away. And I mean, even in relationships, family dynamics, sometimes the truth hurts, but telling people how you feel is one thing, and blaming people for how you feel is another thing. So it's being mindful of which narrative that you're expressing to other people. Other people are not at fault for how you feel. Yes, things might have been done to you, and it was completely awful and unfair, but you were here to process those emotions and to transmute it and to move forward and know that it doesn't hold you back, that it doesn't define you. It's not who you are. So yeah, I have some grace with yourself, have grace with other people. It doesn't have to be as scary of a world. And being mindful of what we're watching and what we're reading and what we're absorbing into our energy fields. That will determine kind of your ride in these next few years. And it's going to get crazier and crazier, but the more you decide to go more inward and focus on yourself instead of the external world, is like, quiet the chaos within, quiet everything within, and keep just finding ways and tools to just go within, connect with yourself, because that's the most important thing that you can do. Because when you build that connection and it is stronger and stronger and stronger, it gets to a point that you can look at the chaos in the outside world and it doesn't even faze you. You actually see why it's happening and why it needs to happen. And you actually can have compassion for people, and you're not living in fear or worry or any of those lower consciousness energies, right? So I just wanted to share that with you. That's been really strong this morning. I actually didn't want to. I really didn't. I just wanted to like curl up on the couch and just be cozy, but it was just kind of nagging at me. So for whoever needs to hear this, here you are. And I hope you have the most amazing rest of your day, and just shine your light and have some grace. Not everything's as scary and as bad as it seems.